Guys, my name is NosferKitty and welcome back to Red Embrace Hollywood. We just met Randall's little group of people and we are now sitting outside of his house. I'm gonna, have a nice little chit chat with him. So, yeah, let's just get right back on into it. Outside, Randall lowered himself onto the porch's stairs, motioning me to sit down beside him. The waves gently crashed and fell in the distance, rippling beneath the moonlight. Hope I didn't throw you off too much back there. But hey, I don't like to break the ice so much as smash it with a fucking hammer. You did a good job. I understand the clan a little better now. Well, thanks, newbie. It means a lot to me hearing you say that. They all come from different places and they've got real different stories, but everyone comes together here. He paused, his gaze flicking from my face to the dark ocean. Behind us, I could hear the muffled sounds of laughter and chatter drifting warmly from inside. Kitty! Ooh, music changed. Goodness, you're pretty. When Randall turned back to me, a faint shadow clouded his face. It was a different look from the one he had worn inside the house. Almost offensive. So, if you really weren't sent here by Charisse, I'm guessing there's something on your mind, right? I feel... let's see here. That one. Yeah. Randall fell silent for a moment, chewing on his lower lip. It's true. I think most new vampires feel like that, getting torn away from everything they know. In this world, it's pretty much sink or swim. You deal with what fate gives you, and you make the most of it, or you die trying. Clear cut and brutal. He let out a deep sigh, watching me broodingly for a long few moments. I kept wanting to switch those words. Well, I didn't come here for a pity party. I can always find someone else. Whoa, who's throwing a pity party? Don't get bent out of shape about it. You can find someone else, sure. But with you being one of Queen Bitch's bitches, and with the war going on, I'll tell you right now, you're not going to have much luck. My voice is going, by the way. I'm sorry. I've been doing this for like 3 hours. With a frustrated grunt, Randall ran a hand through the back of his hair. He seemed to be wrestling with his own thoughts. Look, I might be able to help you figure things out if you tell me what you want now that you're a vampire. You do know what you want, right? Loaded question! I want to do whatever the hell I want. Ah! That's a good answer, kid. I like that. Well, you came to the right place. That's what we're all about. Rebelling against the totalitarian pricks. I hate that word. Can't say it properly. Who want control of the vampires. Randall hesitated briefly, eyes flicking to the door for a split second. His focus snapped almost instantly back to me, and a smile briefly flickered over his lips. Alright, now listen to me for a second, Callie. I like your style, so I'm gonna make you an offer. You keep working for Queen Bitch, for now at least. We don't have to act happy about it, but don't make her think you're a threat either. If she tries to make any moves against me or makes a treaty with the Gauls to take us down, tell me as soon as you can. She might slip you false information, but I can usually sniff out the truth. And in return, I'll teach you how to keep your spirits as a vampire in LA, the way me and my group stay strong. Maybe it'll help you figure yourself out a little more. How's that sound, newbie? Sign me up, but could you stop calling me newbie? My remark made Randall grin playfully, and he pointed a finger at my nose. Oh yeah, I left out one condition. I can call you newbie whenever I damn well feel like it. At least it's cute, right? He stuck out a large, calloused hand for me to shake, staring intently into my eyes. As I reached out for his palm, I noticed a bandage in the middle of his hand. As I reached for his hand, I noticed a bandage in the middle of his palm, though there wasn't any smell of blood. Hey, don't leave me hanging here. Randall leaned forward to clasp both of his hands around my own, dwarfing it in his giant palms. Was I supposed to make a choice and I didn't? Oops. Ooh, hey. After a firm few shakes, he used his hold to pull me in a little closer. I couldn't tell on purpose or if it was just something he did on instinct, considering the aggressive nature of his blood. And Callie, the first thing I want you to learn is to always obey yourself. Randall's fingers tightened a bit around my hand. I'm stuttering here, squeezing it almost painfully hard. Never believe anyone is better or more worthy than you. Never let your mind be a slave to someone or something else. No masters, no idols, no kings. I hope you take that to heart. Even after he stopped speaking, his quiet words echoed in my mind, like a tolling bell slowly fading into silence. Was he threatening me? Warning me? Testing me? Whatever it was, I could tell he wasn't kidding around. I don't bow down to anyone, Randall. You can count on that. I'll hold you to that promise, Callie. A smirk wormed onto his lips, and he gave my hand one last, strong squeeze before finally letting go. We'd shared no body warmth, obviously, but I still felt the roughness of his bandaged palms lingering on my skin. Whew, buddy. Good. I got a promising feeling about this. And I hope that you put your mind to rest, kid. Don't want you going sadder than a box of kittens in the rain. The heck? Oh. Listen, I need to get some planning done for a little Isari party crash that I'm doing tomorrow. Don't want you to think of kicking you out, but I kinda am. Grinning apologetically, Randall pushed himself to his feet, rubbing the small of his back. Then, he extended a hand palm down to help me up. My hesitation must have been obvious because Randall let out a bark of laughter. No squeezing this time, I promise. Grabs his hand with a squeeze. Ooh. Randall winked at me as I grabbed his hand, letting him pull me onto my feet. But as I turned to step off the porch, Randall stopped me, tugging lightly on the back of my jacket. Hey, Callie. Not after tomorrow. How about we go grab some drinks? Say around midnight? There's a place called Saturnalia, run by one of Sharice's bitch boys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I have to because I call one of my friend's ex-boyfriend's bitch boy, so sorry. But at least he serves stuff that won't make us sick. You asking me out? I'm asking you to chat with me over a glass of typo negative, that's all. It'd be a quiet place for us to get to know each other a little better. Then I'll be there. Alright, I'll see you then. You can ask someone at the hotel for directions. Those Isari fuckers are always hanging out there. Now, enjoy the rest of your night, kid. And hey, I'm glad you came by. Listen, asshole, why'd you kick me out? Fucking giving weird hand sex and then just letting go. Like, fuck you. After I stepped off the patio and back onto the beach, Randall gave me one last warm smile. I call that a farewell, but my voice was swallowed by the drone of endless waves crashing on the shore. I'm sure he heard it, he's a vampire. Man, that's upsetting. Did it have to be that short? I spent the rest of the night prowling the city, testing my new abilities. The hot blood of my vampire house Mavar seemed to give me strength and speed beyond anything I could have ever had while alive. I felt like I could juggle lions and outrun a race car, although I probably wouldn't be testing either of those theories anytime soon. Oh, it's in the music. I'm like, why do I hear sirens? But as I darted through the shadows, reveling in the cool night breeze, something stirred inside me. A deep, subtle tugging with sensation within my chest. Was it? The feeling reminded me of the arson Marcus mentioned in my first night. Dangerous and uncontrollable. My powers were amazing, but I didn't want to push them too far without understanding what that fire meant. Because it just might consume me before I realized it. Finally, as I began to head back to the hotel, a fresh hunger stirred in my gut. Sunrise was still an hour off, so I could feed from a human if I wanted to. There was no point in struggling against my instincts. If animals hunted in the wild, then I could hunt in the streets. It was only natural. I better not die because of this. After a short search, I found a woman just outside a restaurant's back exit, probably leaving her shift. She looked baffled as I pulled her aside. But once I sank my fangs into her neck, her confusion faded into mindless bliss. With a pleasant warmth now tingling inside me, I left her sitting in a daze by the door, where she probably would soon be discovered. By the time I returned to my hotel room, settling in for the night, everything was beginning to feel more natural. It was still bizarre to think that I'd been turned into a blood-sucking pretty corpse, but I realized something important. I could use my house to better define myself. My powers were a reflection of how I was in life, or how I wanted to be. The mysterious vampire who sired me must have brought me into this house because we were similar somehow. By learning how other Mavar acted, how they used their powers, I'd try to learn more about myself, my true nature. Oi, stop that. As morning crept closer, I curled up onto the bed to hide away from the sun. I curled up on the bed to hide away from the sun. I resolved to keep that promise. After all, undead or not, the week wouldn't last long in Hollywood. My neighbors are so mad. Oh boy. The night sky flickered past outside my car window, its stars almost invisible through all the light pollution. I was on my way to South Los Angeles, courtesy of Charisse's driver. He never said a word, which was slightly unnerving, but the circumstances didn't really lend themselves to small talk. Only a few days ago, Marcus and I had taken the same sedan to the Hollywood Heights Hotel. And now here I was, riding it again, rolled out like a bowling ball from Charisse's fingertips. Unlike my previous mission, I hadn't been given a lot to go on. All I knew was the description of Charisse's agent. A Latina Isari blood, gray suit with a blue shirt, appeared in her mid-30s. She'd gone missing a few days ago, and even though Charisse said the agent usually took lengthy vacations, I had a bad feeling about this. Before long, the sedan pulled over to a seemingly random point on the street. Of course, the driver didn't say anything, but I could guess that this was my drop-off point. South LA, let's see, is this... I'm trying to guess just by visuals here where this is. Anyway. I left the car for the streets of South LA, wondering how exactly to start my search. Asking around wouldn't be a bad idea, though most of the people passing by looked pretty unsavory. I could also try to track her down myself if there were any traces left of her scent. My best bet was probably to... Motherfucker. Tracker scent. I didn't have much to go on. Charisse had offhandedly mentioned the scent of the agent's perfume, but that was about it. If she had gotten into a fight, maybe I could catch the scent of blood somewhere. And, of course, there was the distinct smell, if you could call it that, of a vampire. Much different from a human. I couldn't really put it into words. Then again, pretty much everything that had happened to me recently defied logical explanation. The hell is this sticky sound? I combed the streets for some time, attempting to find any trace of the agent. The mixture of city smells was so thick that I could barely pick out the one above the rest, let alone one that had been stale for a couple of days. But as I wandered down a certain alley, I suddenly caught something different. A trace of perfume, the presence of a vampire, incredibly faint, but still strong enough for me to smell it. Yet, the scent trail stopped almost immediately. It was like she had vanished into thin air in this alleyway. It was very much a dead end, except for the manhole leading to the sewers. If the agent was chasing someone, or running from someone, it seemed like the perfect escape route. Like Nosferatu? Really? Knowing I had to be on the right track, I grabbed the manhole cover and easily yanked it off. A damp, smelly darkness yawned at me from below, but unfortunately it seemed like the only way forward.
It's a puppy! It's a puppy, look! It's two puppies!
After clambering down the ladder, I stepped off the bottom rung into murky, shallow water. Ugh. Yucky. A few rats darted away in squeaking terror, like I'd barged into their private meeting. I really hadn't come to LA expecting to splash around in the sewers, but life was just full of surprises. Ew, the sounds. As I cautiously made my way forward, I caught a scent above the stench of the sewage. Blood. But it was different from the sweet, enticing smell of mortal blood. It seemed oddly bitter, making the back of my throat burn painfully. Or maybe that was the sewage. It was hard to tell. Ironically, just a few hours ago, I had been lounging in my extravagant hotel suite. And now here I was, getting intimately acquainted with LA's waste. In the middle of all that filth and vermin, I pondered how. I was just doing what I had to do. This was just another part of the job. Maybe not the most enjoyable field work, but I wasn't about to bolt at the sight of some rats. The further I ventured into the sewers, the more uneasy I felt. My sharp instincts jumped at every noise, every strange flicker of light, and yet nothing came out of the darkness. Soon, the smell of blood grew stronger. It was close now, to whatever it was. God, the sound. I followed the bitter scent down several tunnels, staying on high alert. Closer. It was so close now, and anticipation filled my empty gut. I rounded yet another corner, and then the smell stopped. It was strongest right here, but I couldn't see anything but water and floating garbage. Had I missed something? Just as I was about to turn around, my gaze fell on a ruined TV lying on a pile of clothes. It looked unnatural, out of place, and the water around it was a different color. But as I stared at the TV set, I slowly realized I wasn't looking at someone's discarded trash. The screen was torn out, but instead of exposed wires inside of it, I saw a mangled head. That pile wasn't just clothes. It was a body. Are you not gonna show me? You're not gonna show me? That's lame. With a chill creeping up my spine, I slowly stepped closer, studying the corpse. When I recognized its features, my stomach clenched in dread. This was Cherise's agent. At least, from what I could tell, her body was completely mutilated. Someone had opened a hole in the bottom of a TV and stuck it over her head. There's gonna be a rat coming out or something. She looked like she'd been attacked by a wild animal. Huge chunks of flesh sliced off, bones sticking out, clothing torn into shreds. And more strangely, she was missing her eyes and ears. But judging from the precise cuts there, they'd been removed with almost surgical precision. As my eyes traveled down the massacred body, I spotted something on the ground by its side. It was a small piece of oddly bright stationery, printed with almost mechanically perfect handwriting. It's always the same. Must have been the note from the killer. Cherise would definitely want to see this. I bent down to gingerly grab the paper, folding it up to stick it in my pocket. At that moment, I felt something on my shoulder. A cold grasp squeezing tightly. Turn and attack, bitch! I whirled around, ready to lunge forward and strike, but two hands instantly caught my wrists, twisting them painfully before pushing me back. As I stumbled a few feet away, I jerked my head up towards the figure. Ready to eviscerate the unknown, are we? How fascinating. Hello? Don't crash. Don't do it. Oh, it's Marcus. You bitch! You fucking bitch! I hate you. Why do you scare me? God! You bitch. Okay. There stood Marcus. I thought it was either going to be Marcus or it might be... I don't know why the fuck Randall would be in the sewer with his big ol' ass, but you never know. There stood Marcus, his pale eyes shining brightly. Fuck! You scared the shit out of me! Well, we are in a sewer, so I suppose that's as good a place as any. Come on now. Ooh, this is pretty. Turning away from me slightly, Marcus lowered his gaze to the gory mass of flesh that was once Cherise's agent. I saw a keen interest in his eyes, almost fascination. Not the look you'd usually observe a mangled corpse with. I gather the Red Queen sent you here. She will applaud your investigative skills, no doubt. Tell me, just what do you believe happened to this unfortunate soul? They cut out her eyes and ears. This wasn't just mindless killing. One would be inclined to think so, indeed. A message, or perhaps self-therapy, of the most visceral kind. Hands clasped behind his back, Marcus strolled towards the corpse, circling around it with an analytical light in his eyes. The bottom of his long coat swished in the discolored water, soaked and dripping, but he didn't seem to particularly mind. I suggest you tread very carefully around this matter, Callie. There is a sense of formless malice in the air, a festering loathing that something created. Do not underestimate the wretched. It's Cherise's problem, not mine. She just sent me to get the agent. All Cherise's problems, not also your own. After all, it seems she's taken quite the shine into her new errand girl. As Marcus's calm drawl echoed off the walls, putting me slightly more at ease, my body seemed to suddenly remember the stench around me, making it difficult not to gag. It was the acrid smell of the agent's blood, churning in my gut, even overpowering the scent of rotten flesh. Look, if she's already dead, how much more can she decompose? As if sensing my thoughts, Marcus took a deep, long sniff of the air, his eyelids fluttering closed. You are very pretty. You are insanely pretty. In real life, you're more my type than Randall, but what can I say? I like blondes that lead their own, pack. If you're puzzled as to why the smell of her blood is so wretched, beyond the advanced state of decay, of course, it's because of a rather curious phenomenon. He wandered back towards me, observing my face intently. To humankind, vampire blood is wonderful, intoxicating, a drug beyond any other. In fact, it gives them a certain temporary powers, usually a very weak form of their donor's own. But to other vampires, another Night Stalker's blood is the most repellent taste on Earth. A rare few of our kind can drink vampire blood without throwing it back up, but in most cases, we are all but toxic to each other. Oh, but that doesn't make it any fun. That makes it no fun. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I was hoping it'd be a special bonding thing. Bonding? You appear to have a remarkably romanticized idea of the walking, talking corpses that we are, Callie. I do. I really do. What's on the inside is, I'm sorry to say, often quite grotesque. A slightly sadistic chuckle rumbled from his chest, accompanied by a dim flicker of his eyes. Well, enough of such morbid trivialities? Yes. I should be crawling back to my shop, but before I do, I wanted to mention something that you may find important. More sagely advice. I am the fool, not the sage, sister. Now, despite what you may think, the number of vampires in Los Angeles is fairly low. Most of us all know each other, or at least each other's names. And that's exactly why word about you will spread faster than herpes in a game of spin the bottle. Oh my god. In fact, I've a mind to believe that it's already spreading. Everything you do or say will get out somehow, so keep that locked up in your mind somewhere, safe and sound. They can talk about me all they want, I don't care. As admirable as I find your self-assuredness, you may want to reflect on the shaky ground beneath your feet. Charisse's hounds will keep you from leaving the city, which means you're at the mercy of other vampires. For now. Consider associating with more of your fellow stalkers of the night. Indeed, as often as you can. Not just the vampires who share your beliefs either. A creature is corrupted when they hold in a higher esteem those who agree with them rather than those who don't. Listen, I will happily do the thruple thing with you and Randall if you can get along. Make allies, or at least observe your enemies, because someone will always find a fantastic excuse to hate you, even if you make Jesus look like he wasn't trying hard enough. I like that. The idea, I like that. Make it look like Jesus wasn't trying hard enough. I love that idea. Also, this is really cute. You can find our kind everywhere. The slaughtering house, the abattoir, the streets, the bar, the beach, the hotel. He gestured grandly in a half circle with one hand, as if using the surrounding filth to symbolize L.A. And you know where my den of depravity is, of course. I'll start looking around for allies. Thanks, Marcus. Now you'll think... No, now, are you thanking me because you appreciate me? Or because you'd like me as one of those allies? Politics always had such a dreadful veneer over everything, don't they? Such is the nature of man. He exhaled a long, quiet sigh. I keep going back into his accent when I'm reading after him. Smiling wistfully for some... Ow, I bit my lip ring. For some reason or another. But probably not from sympathy. Actually, I would really like for you to be one of my... Ooh, that's a cute pose. But just as he turned to leave, Marcus paused, throwing a sudden glance back towards me. I'm sure our roads will cross again sooner or later, Callie. No need to take the one less traveled. It makes little difference in the end. He raised 2 fingers to... I gotta stop doing that! He raised 2 fingers to offer me a casual wave, eyes glinting behind his glasses. As Marcus disappeared around the corner, his presence rapidly faded, almost as if the darkness had just swallowed him up. For all I knew, maybe it had. With the killer's note in my hand and the image of Charisse's dead agent burned into my brain, I made my own exit. Back on the street, the driver had been patiently waiting for me. Of course, he said nothing as I climbed into the sedan, even though I probably smelled like all of LA's bodily waste. Surely even he wondered sometimes if he was being paid enough for all of this. And this is where we're going to end it, because it's been half an hour. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or any game suggestions, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And I'll see what I can do about playing games, because we all know that my computer's kind of a piece of shit. And please, please, please feel free to subscribe if you are not already, because I'd love to have you around. And I will see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.